Let's explore JavaScript Closures, a powerful feature related to function scope and data privacy. A closure allows a function to remember and access variables from its outer scope, even after the outer function has completed its execution. Here's a basic example. We have an outer function that declares a variable named count and initializes it to 0. This outer function returns another function. This return function increments the count variable and returns its updated value. The return function forms a closure because it remembers and accesses the count variable from its outer scope. To understand closures, it is important to understand lexical scope. Lexical scope determines how variable names are resolved based on where they are located in the source code. In JavaScript, a variable's accessibility is determined by its position within nested functions. If a variable is declared inside a function, then it is part of that function's scope. Inner functions can access variables declared in their outer functions. However, the reverse is not true. Outer functions cannot access variables declared in their inner functions. Here is an example. The message variable is part of the outer function's scope. The inner function can access the message variable. However, if we try to access the reply variable outside of the inner function, then we will encounter an error. The scope chain refers to the hierarchy of scopes that JavaScript uses to look up variables. When a variable is used within a function, JavaScript first checks if the variable is declared in that function's scope. If the variable is not found there, then the search continues in the outer scope and so on until it reaches the global scope. Here is an example. We have a global variable globalVar and an outer function that declares a variable outerVar. Inside the outer function we have an inner function that declares the variable innerVar. Inside the inner function we are logging all three variables. The innerVar will be found within its own scope. The outerVar will be found in the outer scope, and finally the globalVar will be found in the global scope. The arrows indicate the direction that JavaScript will search for these variables. Closures are created through a specific sequence of steps. First, an inner function is defined within the scope of an outer function. Second, the inner function references variables declared in the outer scope. Third, these outer scope variables are kept alive in memory, even after the outer function has completed its execution. Finally, the captured variables remain private to the closure, and they can only be accessed or modified through the closure itself. Here is an example. We have a createCounter function which declares a variable named count initialized to 0. This function returns an object which contains two methods, increment and decrement. Both the increment and decrement functions form a closure over the count variable. Because of this, they can both access and modify this variable. The count variable is encapsulated within the closure. It is not directly accessible from the outside. Closures can form a chain of scopes, and this can be used to achieve complex functionality. When there are multiple nested functions, each function can form a closure over the variables in its respective scope. Consider this example. We have an outer function called outermost. This takes a parameter x and returns a function named middle. The middle function takes a parameter y and returns an innermost function. Finally, the innermost function takes a parameter z and returns the sum of x, y, and z. When the outermost function is called, it returns the middle function. Then the middle function returns the innermost function. This means that the value of x, y, and z are preserved throughout the function chain. The innermost function forms a closure that encompasses all of these variables. In the memory model, we can see that the innermost scope first looks for the value of z. Next, the middle scope is searched and the value of y is found. Finally, the outermost scope is searched and the value of x is found. The values are then summed up and the result is returned. Closures enable us to create private variables within JavaScript, which is a powerful feature for data privacy. Here we have a function, createBankAccount, which declares a variable named balance initialized to 0. This function returns an object which exposes two methods. The deposit method increases the balance and returns the updated balance. The getBalance method returns the current balance. The balance variable is private, and it is only accessible through these methods. This approach has many benefits. The variables are protected from external access. This means that unauthorized modifications are prevented. This helps in maintaining data integrity through controlled interfaces and creates clean public application programming interfaces or APIs for interaction. This approach can also simulate private class fields in pre-ES 2019 code. Closures can be used to create function factories that produce specialized functions. Function factories are functions that return other functions. This is very useful when we want to create functions with preset parameters. This example shows a multiply function that accepts a parameter x and returns a function. The return function accepts a parameter y and returns the product of x and y. We can now use this function factory to create specialized functions such as multiply by 2 or multiply by 10. Here we are fixing one parameter and allowing the second parameter to be passed at a later time. This is also called partial application, where we pre-fill some of a function's parameters. Another use case is when we want to create functions that perform an API request. We can have the base URL as a pre-filled parameter, and the other parameters such as endpoint and query parameters can be configured later. The module pattern leverages closures to create self-contained modules. These modules can have private variables and public methods. A module is created using an immediately invoked function expression or IIFE, which is a function that is defined and immediately executed. Inside the IIFE, we have private members such as the items array and the calculate total function. These are not accessible from outside. The IIFE also returns an object with some public methods such as addItem and getTotal. These are the only ways to interact with the module. This approach helps in achieving encapsulation as the private data and methods are hidden. It prevents global scope pollution by creating a namespace. It also organizes related functionality and helps in managing internal state. Finally, it provides a clear public API for interaction. Closures can be used to implement currying, which is the transformation of a function that takes multiple arguments into a sequence of functions that each take a single argument. The regular multiply function takes 3 arguments and returns their product. The curried multiply function takes 1 argument and returns a function. This return function takes another argument and returns yet another function. This final return function takes the final argument and returns the product of all 3. Currying is particularly useful for configuring and reusing functions. For example, we can create a format price function that accepts the currency, amount, and precision as parameters. It then uses the built-in International Number Format API to format the number. By currying, we can fix the currency parameter and create specialized functions such as USD price and year price, and these can be reused with different amounts and precisions. Closures can be used to implement memoization. Memoization is an optimization technique where the results of expensive function calls are stored in a cache. When the same function is called again with the same inputs, the cached result is returned instead of recalculating it again. Here we have a memoize Fibonacci function. Inside this function we have a private cache object. This function returns a function that accepts a number n, and first checks if the result is already in the cache. If yes, then it returns the cached result. Otherwise, it computes the Fibonacci number, stores it in the cache, and returns it. This caching approach has many benefits. It improves the speed as the results are not recalculated. It trades space for time complexity. It is most useful with pure functions that have no side effects. Finally, it provides cache control and is invisible to the caller. Closures are used in many common JavaScript patterns. In event handling, closures help preserve data across event triggers. The createHandler function creates an event listener and uses a closure to persist the count variable across multiple clicks. Closures can also be used for debouncing, where function calls are delayed to prevent repeated triggers. The debounce function accepts a function and a delay and returns a new function. This new function uses a closure to manage a timeout ID, and it will only call the original function after the given delay has passed. Closures can also be used to create iterators that provides controlled access to collection elements, while maintaining their internal state. Here the createIterator function creates an iterator that can access the next element of an array, check if there is a next element, and view the current element. The index variable is encapsulated and is not exposed to the user. While closures are very powerful, it is important to be aware of memory considerations. Closures can potentially cause memory leaks if not handled carefully. Here is an example of a potential memory leak. The createButtons function assigns an arrow function to the onClick handler. Each time the function is called, a new closure is created. Over time, this can cause memory leaks. A better approach is to create an object which has a state and a method and assign that method to the onClick handler. The handler object is also returned to the user so that they can clean it up if needed. Here are some best practices. Avoid capturing large scopes within the closure. Only capture the required variables. Remove any unused closure references. Always clean up event handlers when they are no longer needed. If using caching, then implement a limit for the size of the cache. Consider using weak maps for caching when appropriate. Weak maps do not prevent garbage collection of keys. If you like this video, hit that like button and don't forget to subscribe. Visit codelucky.com for more such useful content.